This is another training demo by SQL Server 2012 tutorial.com. My name is Kash Mughal. Today our topic is SQL tutorials by Kash part 2. We are going to be looking at the SQL Select statement. Last time we covered the update command. We're kind of going in a different order. I would have started with the select statement, but nevertheless, this is our topic today. Select query is used to retrieve or select data from a table or a view in a database. So this command, the select command, is definitely the most commonly used SQL statement that's out there. Well, why is that? Well, most times people are trying to get information out of the database, trying to make sense of the data. So that is why we use select command. And also anytime you are reporting, doing reports or whatnot, you are indeed running the select command under the hood. Okay, now using this statement, you can select one or more fields from one or more tables. Today we will primarily be looking at single tables, but possibly in another training demo we will go over doing joins and pulling information from separate tables. Now the select statement is very versatile. It's got the ability to do aggregate functions, computation, so things like averages, counting records and whatnot. Again, we will not be looking at some of these advanced topics. We will come back to that in another demo. And finally, the select query can also use a subselect or a subquery. So that's just an overview about the command. Now, as far as the syntax for a select query, it's basically shown on this PowerPoint presentation. So you basically start with the keyword select. You can select one or more fields, or you can also use the asterisk sign, or it's commonly known as the star. So you do a select star from table 1 comma table 2 and whatnot. Now you'll notice that the first two lines are underlined. Well, for a select command to work, all you really need is the select part and the from clause. Okay, all these other parameters, these are optional. We will be looking at a few of these, but do realize that if you have a select from, that's all you need to make it happen. I guess returning data. So moving on, obviously a lot of times we are looking for a particular information in a table, so we do use the where clause, and we may just do a separate demo just on the where clause because it's got lots of different options and conditions you can use. Then you can also use the order by clause, and finally the last two, which are related, the group by having. These are typically used when you are trying to basically filter data. So a good scenario for that would be, let's say you have a sales database and you are trying to group the revenue, I guess, by sales region or sales personnel. That's where that will come into play. And finally, I am including a link to TechNet. If you wanted to know more about the syntax, you can go check that out. So as far as today, well, what are we going to be looking at? We will be running some select queries, and we are going to be using, again, the Northwind sample database. This has been around for decades, if not number of years. We are using SQL Server 2012 today, and we will do the following. We are going to be selecting data from the customers and the products table. We will also be using filters with the where clause to, basically select part of the data. Next, we will move on and use the order by clause to sort the data either in ascending or descending order. And then we will also look at other items like the distinct clause and the top clause, which will be pretty good. We will not be looking at the group by clause. We possibly can do a demo down the line. I want to try to keep these things to a certain amount of time, so that's why we can't cover everything. So let's switch over to Management Studio. I'm clicking on too many things, but basically we're already logged into SQL Server 2012. Here's what it looks like. We have a database called Northwind in here, And if I expand, let me move this a little bit to the right so you guys can see a little bit better. If we expand the tables, you will see that we have data in here. Primarily, we are going to be looking at the customers table. If I right click on it and select the data, this will give you a little bit of idea on what the underlying information looks like. Typical customer information, things like customer ID, name, contact name, title, whatnot. So that is the data, and we do have, if you look on the bottom, we do have 91 rows in here. So what I did for today's lesson, I actually have a script already. I'm going to be typing some of those things, even though my typing skills aren't the best, but we will try to get through it without too much pain. So here I'm just basically, like I said, it mentions it's a SQL Select statement. It returns data. We are using Northwind database, SQL Server 2012. So let's get cracking. So the first example I have is basically I would like to return all the customer rows from the customer table. How do I do that? Okay, so here's my queue. I need to enter the query here, and I'm just gonna start with select. Okay, and I want everything, so I will go select star from customers. Okay, now you notice that this line has 2 dashes in there, so SQL thinks it's a comment. I'm going to go ahead and delete those, and you'll notice that it does magically change its colors. Okay, now one thing I'm not sure you're aware of, but in SQL Server you can just highlight a particular piece of code and just run that. Okay, so I'm just highlighting this. All I have is select star from customers. I'm going to go up here and then go ahead and execute. Before I do that, I do need to switch this to the database context to Northwind, otherwise it will give me a friendly error. So I'm going to hit execute, and when I do that, notice that it went ahead and returned all of this information. Again, we just looked at that when I right clicked on this table here, but now we are using SQL command to pull this information, and again we have 91 rows. So what I'm going to do is instead of just highlighting everything, maybe I can select 5 rows or so. I'm just basically trying to put this in here. So as we are going through different examples, you can see how one output compares to the other one, right? Okay, so well, that was great. What else can we do? Well, we can do a lot. We can what if we want to return specific fields or columns from the customers table? Not a problem. And here I am cheating. I have the the fields. The first field is customer ID, company name, and country from customer. So let's go ahead and run this one. So when I'm sorry, I had to check something, but I just want to make sure it is recording. But now when I did run this, you'll notice that I selected only these 3 fields. Okay, and now SQL is just returning those 3 columns that we selected. We still have the same number of rows, so you'll see we do have 91 rows. Okay, so I'm going to, let me just do this again. I'm going to copy these 5 rows. Okay, and I'm always scared of losing my work, so I'm going to save this while I am going through these examples in case things blow up, which sometimes they do in the database world. Okay, so that was great. We returned specific columns. Well, what if we wanted to return specific customers? Okay, namely we are interested in customers in the US. How do we do that? Okay, but this time again we are going to be looking at specific information. So I will just copy this. I'm going to copy this, which you can do Control C or right click and select it like that. Okay, now all I really need is I need a where clause. Okay, so I'll say where country and we get the IntelliSense, which is good. This wasn't always around in SQL Server, so I'm thankful to the gods of SQL Server. Okay, now, so all I really did was I added this line saying that where I want this information, but I only want where country is equal to US. Okay, so select that, hit F5. Now we are only getting American customers, and you can see down here that we only have lucky 13 rows. Okay, and so let me just do that. I'm again going to copy some of this data, put this in the output so we can kind of keep track of things. So that's great. Well, we just added a where clause. Now you can actually take it to the next level, right? So you can say, well, that's fine, but I want to add it in the condition. Okay, well, we can certainly do that. So now we would like to know the customers that are in United Kingdom and in the city of London. How will we find those? So again, you just do a select star from customers, which, remember, since we're doing a star, what is that going to do? It is going to return all the fields, right? And then we have a condition where country equal to UK and city is equal to London. By the way, SQL Server is very forgiving. It could be uppercase, lowercase. You could write this on multiple lines. You could, you could even do funky things like leave lines in there. This should, in theory, work. Okay.